Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the LBC Award is chosen by the listeners of LBC for a story that resonated with them over the last 12 months. There's no doubt what you are about to see is a truly heroic tale of bravery. Just to warn you, some of you could find what you're about to view quite upsetting.
Just a normal night shift, starting at 10, going out in one of our transit vans, just driving around, seeing what
was about?
Yeah, seeing what's about, seeing who's up to no good. Just happened to be driving down Leighton High Road, just happened to be behind the vehicle that I had to stop in the future, and its age, its location, its time of night, 17 years old in London. It's a bit too old for a white van to be driving around.
Yeah.
So run it through our system with the intention of stopping him, asking the attention, what are you doing around these streets at this time of night? Turns out it's got no insurance. So I thought, okay, get ourselves a vehicle seizure here, take it back to the station, get it picked up, carry on the night. Tried to stop the vehicle, he does pull over. My colleague gets out, tries to get him out of the car. Van shouts at her and then just drives off. We have probably the world's shortest car chase, about 200, 300 metres down the road. And he stops again just opposite Cooper's Lane in E10.
Right.
He eventually gets out and I'll bring my van round in front of his, thinking to myself, well, he gets back in his van, my van's in front of his, kind of blocking his escape route. Gets out, again, he shouts at my colleague, then walks past me, shouts at me, gets back in his van and tries to leave. We're repeatedly saying to him, look, you're not leaving, you've got no insurance, we need to investigate this, you're not driving away from me. Tries to close his door, but I'm standing in the way. He notices I'm standing in the way when he tries to close the door, punches me twice in the face for the privilege of doing so. So I arrest him for assault police.
You're under arrest for assault police, doing a safety crime, potentially doing a management question, social line of court, anything you do so may have given evidence.
And he tries to dive into the back of his van, which I didn't know at the time, but he lives there, so what he had back there, I had no idea. Drag him back into the van, we're having a bit of a scuffle in the doorway. Breaks free of me, literally dives across his van, grabs a machete and starts chopping up my head. I mean, I only realised 4 or 5 hits in. I'm there fighting him thinking, well, why's my head getting so wet? Then I realise it's not raining. I focus on what he's got and I realise that, well, that's a machete, so this must be blood. Shout machete to my colleague. She backs away, quite rightly so. I back away. He comes straight out at me, still hacking, slashing, slicing. I draw my taser, fire it once. The first activation doesn't work. So as I'm re-aiming...
Why did it not work? Did it hit some padded clothing or something?
Yeah, so it hit padded clothing, so there wasn't a close enough distance between the barbs and the skin to get activation. So as per training, I've re-aimed at a different part of his body, pulled the trigger again. Unfortunately, due to my clumsiness, I was falling over at the time, but still managed to get the second shot in as he's swinging towards me.
Get my radio! Get my radio!
And as I land on the floor, he lands to my right-hand side, where I managed to keep him detained with the taser, get the members of the public to bring my radio to him, and I managed to get some assistance.
I need an ambulance now. I've been stabbed with a machete.
How many injuries did you sustain, Stuart?
I took 6 machete strikes to the head and 2 to the arm.
And I can see some of the scars now.
Yeah, I've got visible scars all over my head, visible scar on my right hand, visible scar on my right forearm, and there'll be ones that will never go away. There was a point where I'm on all fours, blood's coming out my head like a tap, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. To the point where I'm thinking to myself, I was focusing on my breathing, just thinking if I slow my breathing down, I can slow my heart rate, slow the blood loss, stop myself from passing out, because if I pass out, I can't guarantee that I can keep control of myself and keep my heart beating, so to speak.
Ladies, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, could I ask you please be upstanding for probably Britain's bravest police officer and the recipient of this year's LBC Award, PC Stuart Outten. Please come to the stage, Stuart. Well done. You're up there with Dua Lipa, Stuart. It's incredible. Just before I hear from you, there's a message from someone who's rather busy at the moment, but she wanted her voice to be heard. Let's hear that now.
Congratulations, Stuart. As Home Secretary, I've seen the best of our brilliant police, but your bravery, strength and devotion to duty really shines out. It is in recognition of your incredible bravery that you are receiving the LBC Award this evening. No one could deserve it more. Congratulations.
And that is, of course, she doesn't get many rounds of applause like that at the moment. That is, of course, the Home Secretary, Priti Patel. Stuart, your abiding memory of that night.
Thank you, Nick. So,
Thank Global, don't thank
no.
me.
Well, a few thanks before I start. Just thank you to Global for inviting me here. I don't feel like I deserve the award. Just my job is to make sure that everyone here doesn't need to do anything. And thank you to the public for voting for me and for the public on the night for coming to help me, because without them, well, might not be to accept the award. But going back to the night, it's a normal night, going out, looking to see who's up to no good, stopping them from bothering yourselves, because I'm sure no one here is up to no good. However, he didn't like what I did. He disagreed with me in a violent form, so he decided to bounce a machete off my head a few times, which I didn't find was quite nice, but I've got the equipment to deal with that. And after falling over and shooting from the hip, which my colleagues don't let me forget about, we managed to detain him, put him on the floor until half of North East London came and detained him and slowly, eventually patched my head up, which you can probably see the scars from here.
They are. Listen, for you, Stuart, and for the men and women who do the job they're doing in this country, every minute of every hour of every day, Stuart Outten, you are the LBC Winner of the Year. Thank you very much indeed. Take that, Stuart. Well done.